Namaste, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. Today's topic is relationships and how every single one of them leaves a little bit of an impact in your life. Some much greater impact, others just enough. So we are social creatures, and every single human being or animal or even just situation is a relationship to us. We have a relationship to our work. We have a relationship to our friends, to our family, and each one of them is very different than the others, and we show up very differently in them. But suffice to say that every single relationship has something in it for you, some kind of a lesson to help you evolve, to help you grow, to help you understand what is acceptable to you and what is not acceptable to you. Because you're an individual and you feel the way you feel and you are what you are, and you need to know yourself. The most important thing is to recognize that every single relationship comes into your life, whether you were born into it and it's that primary relationship with your parents, gazing into their eyes as an infant, looking at mommy and daddy, or the relationships that we choose, the friends that we choose, the acquaintances, the kindnesses that we show to others, or the brutality that we reveal to others. Every single one of them has a little bit of an impact on your life, and some of those impacts are greater than others. So don't discount them. No man is an island, and everyone needs to have relationships. Now, some people's relationships are much more strained than others. But the first relationship you have to have is that with yourself, that inner voice, that little knowing, that spirit guide that inspires you and moves you to fulfilling a destiny, a desire to create a phenomenal life for yourself. If you ignore that relationship, then in essence, you are sinning. Sinning is to miss the mark. Sinning is when you do not listen to your higher self and you do not trust in your higher self or the potential that you have. So the first relationship is to yourself. And right even with that is your relationship to the Creator. Because if you have a relationship to the Creator, then you know you're never alone. And you know all you have to do is listen and be guided by your spirit guides, by your archangels, by your guardian angel. There are all kinds of relationships that are happening around you. And just because you cannot see them does not mean that they don't exist, and does not mean that they are not trying to influence your life. But you do have free will, and you most definitely can decline offers. But the bottom line is, it is your relationship to yourself and then your relationship to them that will either help you move forward or will keep you stuck. So that's your choice. And then we have the relationships of our family members. You know, a lot of times family members are not people we necessarily would choose to be our friends. They're very different. My mother always said, you know, she has 6 children and every single one of them is very different than all the others. They're all raised by the same parents, but their relationship is very different. The way that they interpreted the love that they were given, the attention that they were given, all of that plays into the relationship that they have with their parents and that they have with their siblings. Because if your sibling, in your mind, got more attention, more love, more encouragement, or was, in your mind, the favorite child, then there might be some animosity there. And that animosity is carried throughout your life unless you address it, unless you realize that nobody is perfect. And parents have their favorites because of their relationships and what molded them to be the people that they are. So your relationship to your family is a growing, evolving situation. And at one point, you may choose to cut them off. Just cut them off because they are not there to support you. They are not there to love you and to trust you and to listen. They are there with a prejudgment of what you are or who you are or what you should be doing. I think only family members ever get to feel like they have the right to tell you how to live your life. So again, that relationship is very specific, that it is there to teach you about how to draw your boundaries, who you are, what is acceptable to you. Because if everybody that came into your life was your friend and everybody that came into your life agreed with everything that you said without any kind of questioning or doubt, then, you might not be growing. You might just be going on automatic pilot through your life, making a lot of mistakes and not realizing that all of those mistakes will come up at one point and bite you right in the butt. So everybody is here to teach you something. And I really think that relatives, family, are some of the greatest teachers. Okay. I know when I became a mother, I thought I was going to be teaching my child all kinds of things. And turns out that he was teaching me. He was teaching me patience. He was teaching me compassion, kindness, understanding. And if it wasn't for my relationship with my children, then I would not have gained any of those. People even have a relationship with their pets. They have a relationship with their boss. These are the things that grow us as human beings. And although you might want to just cut them all off, and just kind of, be on your own, you cannot live in a vacuum. There are going to be people that come into your life that are going to impact you one way or the other, influence you one way or the other. And if you can see it as the growing part of your life, if you can say, gee, what did I get from this? How am I going to grow from this? What did this teach me? Then you're all the better off. A lot of people get angry because people are unkind to them or just rude, inconsiderate. Okay. That's their path. You don't have to take that on. You don't have to think that it was personal. There was a wonderful book back in the day, and it's still around, The 4 Agreements. And one of the agreements is to not take anybody personally, because people are, in their own very frail way, imperfect. And they're going to make their mistakes. They're going to act from a knee-jerk reaction. Something inside of them is triggered by a circumstance. And then maybe they show their worst colors. But that doesn't mean that you have to take them personally. Remember, every relationship, whether it's just standing in line, waiting to be checked out, and the person in front of you turns around and has a conversation, or someone lets you get in front of them in line, or someone lets you get in front of them in traffic. These are all moments in time where someone showed their humanity, their kindness, and it's a little something that maybe you don't think very much of it, but someplace in the back of your psyche, it has left a little bit of a mark. And so, let the world be your teacher through the relationships that you have. Start with your relationship to yourself. Realize that you have a very strong relationship to God if you want it, because God does not require anything from us. We are given life. We are given the opportunity to be our very best version. And it is through relationships that we grow, that we learn, that we evolve, and that we can learn to be our very, very best selves. So thank you very much for joining me this weekend on Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. Make life a pleasure. Be good to yourself. Take good care of yourself, because the primary relationship is to self. That's not a narcissistic way of looking at things. If you don't take care of yourself, if your body, mind, and spirit are not important to you, they won't be important to anyone else. And how you show up in the world is a real reflection of your self-love. If you have little to no self-love, that shows up. And most of those people are very bitter and very angry with everybody because they haven't been recognized. And if you show up in the world having learned your lessons and determined not to repeat the same mistakes again and again, that's a true sign that you are evolving. And that's what life is all about. Evolving for your own self to be the very, very best version of yourself. And it happens through relationships. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. And I hope to see you again next week. Please like and subscribe if you feel like there is benefit to these little talks for yourself or for others. Please recommend this to others. It's always my pleasure to be here to give you of my insight and of my knowing, because I just think that we need to lift each other up. We need to understand what the world is around us and not to take it so personally. So do your Kegels, get some downtime in meditation, get a little walk in or some kind of exercise on a daily basis. Drink a lot of water, be good to yourself, and take care of yourself. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week.